Alright, welcome back everybody. Discretion is the better part of valor. I've decided to cut the doors back down with 600 and build them back up through a couple coats of base and clear. I also think I'll get that top of the boot lid done, so we'll see how this goes. Thanks for watching. Back on the driver's side door here, I went over it with Dawn and water, warm water, and then wax and grease remover, regular water-based wax and grease remover. My concern is the compounds from cutting and buffing will work in themselves into the paint a little bit, and then if I didn't clean it as I sanded it, I would just kind of grind those things further in as I work my way down. So I'm hoping that I've got all that stuff off the surface now, and I've got just clean clear coat here that I'll start sanding again. 600 grit wet. I'm just going to go through the whole thing, go and try to get all the pock marks and everything out of here as best as I can, and looking at least 2 more coats of base on it and then clear. Got this all sanded down with 600 grit. Went through to get the most of the pock marks out of it. Obviously you can see that I burned through in a couple spots. That spot's pretty bad right there. No bare metal, but I knew that was going to be bad. These parts right here is where I made contact when I was trying to fit the door. Knocked some chips into that, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do now, this is I'm happy with where this sits. Again, it's going to get 2 coats of base. What I'm going to do now is just tape everything off that, and I'm going to paint it flat like this, since I'm happy with the way that the back has come out and everything, or the interior. I'm going to go ahead and tape everything off so that I don't have to worry about it, and it allows me to paint it straight up and down like this, which I hope will give me a little bit better control than on the stands. Got the door in here in the paint booth. Again, that should be ready to go. And I also got the boot lid here. Took 600 grit sandpaper where the spots that I couldn't get the DA sander in and get that in. I'm also I got those little boards down there. I'm going to prop it up on the boards and get that ready to go. So the next paint sequence will be getting this boot lid here into white epoxy, reduced epoxy, except for the edges here, which I'll do full strength where I cut through. And then once that's good for a day or 2, I'll come back and then I'll shoot the doors in 2 coats of red and the top of the boot lid in 3 coats of red, and then go into 4 coats of clear. Moving on, I think now, instead of playing with this door anymore, I'm going to go back down to 2500. I'm going to clean it again to get any of the buffing stuff out of here, and I'm going to go back down to 2500 and see if I can get those little swirl marks out. And if I can, I'm going to stop. I got a whole big batch of sandpaper that just got delivered to my house since I've been here. FedEx is working on Sundays now, I guess, at the holidays. Of that Sunmite paper that was recommended to me on the SPI form. So I'll be able to revisit this door a little bit better after that, but I want to see if this 2500, getting that cut, will get those swirl marks out. I don't want to recoat this door if I can help it, but I also can't take those swirl marks, so we'll see how it goes. So instead of sticking with the 2500, I went all the way back down to 1000. I figured, what the hell, I'll try to get the little pock marks out completely, and if I burn through, then so be it. But I think I got lucky. There might be onesies, twosies here and there, but most of the pock marks are out. So I'm happy with the way the door sits, but like I mentioned, I got all that sandpaper at home. I'm not going to use any other, go any other further by hand or anything now. I'm going to try to go up with it using the DA sander. That's what I intend to do with the entire car. So if nothing else, I'll have a proof of concept here on the door. So I've got all those stages waiting for me at home. So the next visit, that's what I'll take up. All right, goal to get the stuff that needs to get in reduced epoxy that does not include the door that I've stripped down, just the boot lid, and I think I'm going to sneak the windscreen frame in. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up white epoxy in full strength and then shoot the bare metal spots, a couple bare metal spots that I have on the boot lid. I don't think I have any on the windscreen frame at all. And then from whatever's left over from that, I'll reduce it 25% with the urethane reducer by weight, and then go ahead and shoot it the second coat with the reduced epoxy, and then I'll come back tomorrow to do the red coats. Got the windscreen here. I did go over it with a scuff pad. I'm going to hit it with 220 grit. I didn't do any work to this thing whatsoever, except taking it down to bare metal and then cleaning it up and then spraying it with epoxy. So there's threads down here where it mounts in and goes through the top of the car and the front sail plate. I'm going to get those taped off. But again, just going to go and lightly hit it with 220. I obviously don't want to go to bare metal on any of this, but it give me a little bit more of a bite than just a scuff pad will. So I'll take this, like I said, since I don't expect to get any bare metal, I'll just hit this with the reduced epoxy. As many of you probably know, and I'm sure I've pointed this out in the past, this windscreen frame for the Spitfire is the same as the windscreen frame for the TR4s. So a couple of things that you can see here. You've got these holes here, threaded holes here, and then again the slots. What I understand, and I'm not exactly sure how this all lines up, but the early Spitfires didn't have a soft top linkage or cage, whatever you want to call it, that stays with the car per se. You totally remove the soft top and you totally remove the soft top support, and then stow it in the boot. But the TR4s had a foldable cage, so you threw it back. So a couple of these holes are for the TR4 for the clips where the soft top would clip in. The rest of the holes, I think, maybe not for these right here, but the remainder of the holes are for the windscreen. No, I'm getting that wrong. I'll get it. Sunshades, whatever you want to call them. The visors. There we go. The sun visors that would go out there. They were optional even on the early Spitfires. They were optional. So that's what those holes are there for. Also, this entire side of the windscreen here on the inside will get completely covered in the vinyl. I showed you when I took that off forever ago. Who knows if I'll be able to get that stuff back on successfully or not, and how that stuff is held up. Again, another thing where I'll have to heat it up a little bit. But anyway, it's been sanded to 220 grit. It's been wiped down with wax and grease remover. I'm going to hang it up in the booth, get it situated in there, and be ready for shooting some paint. Booth is set up. I've got one light back there, obviously blinding you, another light over there on the other side. Pretty bright in here, and I still have yet to set up the work light, which will at least, I would imagine, get close to doubling the light in here, so much better. Got the windscreen set up, a couple wires coming down from the ceiling, a couple wires on the floor with the tap and die kits, extra weight. So it's not perfectly stable, but it's going to hold up just fine, I think. Got some bare metal spots on both that and the boot lid that I'm going to take care of here in a little bit, and get going. I'd mentioned I was going to order some new sandpaper, which I did. This is Sunmite stuff. I got it from R&E Paint Supply, someplace in the Midwest. Sorry, I don't remember. I ordered it, jumped online, did a quick chat with their tech support, immediately responded, gave me the answer that I was looking for, and it was technical as far as the grits go. They shipped it. I got a shipping notification that evening, and I had it, I think I ordered it on Thursday, and it arrived via FedEx on Sunday with free shipping, as long as you spend over $100. So maybe not as great as SPI customer service, but as far as I'm concerned, that's pretty darn good. So I got a bunch of stuff here. I got 50 sheets of 1,000 grit, just for sheets, like I said, for hand sanding, when I do the rest of the body and all that kind of stuff. And then I got various grits here, 1,200, 1,500, and 2,000. These are just regular film. I don't think any of them are open yet. Yeah, this one's open. These are just regular film, but they're Velcro on the back. I couldn't find any on Amazon that weren't PSA, the pressure sensitive stuff, which I'd rather not use. I'm not real crazy about that. But this is as a film, so it's not going to degrade. It's not paper based when you are sanding. So that's cool. So that's 50 discs on each one here, and those were $28.50 each. I think the sandpaper was within a couple bucks of that. And then the cool ones are the 3,000 grit, and these are foam padded. So if you can see there, they've got like a little extra pad on them. So again, they're Velcro based, 3,000 grit. These were like 30 bucks, and you only get 10 of them. So these are, $3 a pop. It's I mean, it is what it is. It's sandpaper. These are made in Korea, I think, is the Sunmite stuff. So anyway, that should be able to take me through on this door. Now, unlike the other sandpaper I used, I don't expect this stuff to destroy itself pretty quick like the other stuff did. So I'm concerned that I'm going to cut through on the door and go through the base coat. So, because I don't, like I had mentioned, I don't know how much of the clear I took off. So I'm going to go slow, but I'm also going to be careful. But I want to do that now before I paint anything, so that if I do cut through, when I come back tomorrow to paint base, I may have to paint base on that door, and then, you know, so be it. So anyway, my intention now is to go through and see if I can cut this door following the same method that I did before, and bring the buffing out. Got the door here, obviously. 1200 grit sandpaper on the disc. Again, I'm concerned with burning through here. I don't want to do that, obviously, so I'm going to take my time and be easy with it. Wet sanding it up the whole way, and hopefully I won't mess this up. Well, unfortunately I did burn through in one little spot right there. That's not enough for me to want to repaint the whole door. So if worse comes to worse and I can make it through the rest of the grits without making it any other bad spots, I'll just touch that up with a little bit of red and a little bit of clear, like on a Q-tip or something. So I'm going to work my way through the rest of the grits here up through 3000 and then stop. Through 3000 grit, looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. No swirl marks this time, which is nice. So I got that burned through. That got a little bit bigger, unfortunately. And also, unfortunately, I found this guy over here, which I didn't see before. Neither of them are through to bare metal. Neither of them, frankly, are going to kill me. Again, I'll just touch it up with some red tomorrow when I paint the door. So I'm going to get the primer on that I need to get on the bare metal spots in there, which again is not too much. About 7 o'clock right now. I got about another hour and a half here. So I'll do the small amount of paint first to minimize the overspray and the fumes in here, and then move on to the buffing out this door, and then finish up the night with the reduced epoxy on everything in there. Not too happy with it, unfortunately, after the buffing. Obviously I can't keep doing this indefinitely. So I'm going to have to, at some point, I don't know. It looked all right coming out at 3000, so I guess I can go back to the orange pad and start stepping through the grits again, or the buffing compounds. But again, there's only so much of this I can do before I start burning through. I assume. I didn't, I was careful not to touch that or the one up there, but it doesn't look as nice now as the last one did, with the exception of the swirls in it. So I don't know if I just didn't spend enough time with the highest grit. Maybe I can go back at it with 3000. I don't know. But I'm going to ignore that and get to painting. Whether or not I edited out, you may have noticed there that I kind of stopped and came back at painting. Turns out I ran out of reduced epoxy. So I mixed them up real quick and shot it. It's not unprecedented to not allow the epoxy primer to activate for 30 minutes. I know a couple guys on the forum that just mix it and shoot. So I figured it was better to just mix and shoot than to wait the 30 minutes and allow everything else to dry, or just to not get a sealing coat on there at all. So I got some texture in the boot lid here, not real crazy about that. Hopefully that'll come out when I wet sand tomorrow, but I will be back to wet sand tomorrow and hopefully get a couple coats of red, 3 coats of red on this these here items, and then after the first coat of the red on these, I'll move the door in here and get the door that I have to paint in red in 2 more coats. So continue on. All right, what you see here is the bottom of the motor guard filter. This is what I have on my compressor just to absorb dirt and stuff like that. Works pretty well, at least I think it does. I don't have problems with it. But it does come with filters that you can purchase. The filters, I don't know off the top of my head how much they are, but they might be as expensive as like 10 bucks a pop. So people will say, hey, use the filters that it was designed for, spend the money, it's worth it, and all that kind of stuff. And while that may be true, just the design of this thing smacks too much of some ingenious individual who had a problem and fixed it using stuff that he had laying around the house. And one of those things is a roll of toilet paper. So turns out a roll of toilet paper will fit in here just right. Now I got some extra here. You have to take some off depending on the toilet paper that you use and everything. I don't use cheap stuff, but I don't also use the real fluffy stuff with lotion and all that to make your butt feel good. Obviously this is not for my butt. So just a regular thin paper, toilet paper. I think the more sheets the better. It's more compressed and it'll give you more surface air for filtration. But I do change these out probably every 2 or 3, maybe 4 spray sessions. It's obviously not that very expensive, so it's cheap insurance. I don't think it can hurt. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not using the design stuff, but I doubt it. Got the boot lid here. Like I said, I did have some texture, so I'm going to hit it with 400 grit wet just to take care of the some of the texture in the corners here. I don't know how well you can see that. Pretty bad up here. But the rest of it's not too bad. Anyway, I'll take it down with 400 wet, clean it up with some Dawn and everything, get the dust off of it, get it back into the booth. I'm going to get the windscreen frame out here, do the same thing, and then I'll be ready to put 3 coats of red on this, and then 2 coats on the door. I won't bore you with wet sanding again. All right, getting ready to go here. First coat of red. This is the door. I'm only going to put 2 coats on the door. So that's covered up just to prevent some incidental overspray and it falling out and kind of getting gritty. I'm afraid because I'm not going to lay it down wet that it would dry and get all dusty looking. So everything's cleaned up. I paid special attention to the wax and grease remover and some Dawn and air dried everything, and hopefully I'm not going to have any problems. It is a little tight in here, but I think I can handle it. So getting ready to do the first coat of red. Film after it because it's going to be nasty in here and I got to leave it pretty much right after that. It's going okay. Got the swirl problem again like I had before. We're hopefully on this 3rd coat it'll fill in the little scratches. I'm happy with the way the door's coming out the second time. I got to put a run in right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I got to be careful. It's just because it's a little tight back there. The windscreen's coming out really nice. So I should have just enough paint to get a 3rd coat on everything. Again, I'm running into the discoloration there, if you can see that. Again, hopefully this 3rd coat will cover that. I also didn't have real great overlap on this boot lid, but I'll try to get better next time. A lot of trash again, and that's just, I just think that's how it's going to be. So obviously I can buff a lot of that out the way that the doors came out. So anyway, that's going to get the third coat on here, and that'll be it for tonight. All right, everything looks good. Back over to do the clear. Get 4 coats knocked out. There's still some light scratches and everything on the boot lid here. I'm hoping that the clear will fill that in. I'm pretty sure it will. And the windscreen frame is what came out the best. Had a couple heavy spots on the door down here, but everything needs to get wiped down, tacked off. No wax and grease remover this time. I think I learned my lesson last time. I don't want to take that chance again. So I'll get everything wiped down with a tack cloth, and then 4 coats of clear, 30 minutes in between coats. 3 coats down, gonna get out of here after I put down the 4th coat, so I'm taping now. It's still trash, is the bane of my existence. The boot lid is pretty bad. Hopefully I can block a lot, if not all of that stuff out. But I'm getting better at even coverage and making sure I'm not having any clear get all weird. I still got some pretty good orange peel in here, but this is orange peel. It's not the cratering that I saw the last time. The door's better than the boot lid. I don't know what's up with that boot lid. Windscreen frame is still the best of the 3 pieces here. Probably because of the way that it's mounted, just a little easier to control. So I'll get that 4th coat down, and that'll be it for me for today and for this video. Alright folks, that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment below, tell me what you think. Well, fingers crossed. All that stuff's now in clear coat. I'll come back here in a couple days, check it out. Last time I left, I thought I was good. Hopefully, I've taken the precautions and gotten it right this time. So thanks again. Have a good day. Cheers.